Hey, welcome back to the Living ABSD podcast. I'm your host, AB, short for ABSD. I use they, them pronouns, and I am so excited today to have a new friend of mine here in this space that we are talking about cross-pollination within the work that both of us do. And it's just been a really sweet connection. And I just felt like your story, Alicia, would be so sweet to have here in this space and to get to hear your unique perspective and the curiosities that get to bloom from that. And you're just so special, and to get to hear more about you. I would love to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself and share anything that you'd like people to know.
Well, thank you so much. I'm Alicia Beeson, and I'm approaching 50 years old. I have two boys, and I'm married happily. And I have a small flower farm. I'm a graphic designer. I also have a video production graphic design business, and um, I am publishing a new product, which is like an oracle deck. I call it a self-reflection deck.
Mm.
It's called the Aha Moments of Blooming.
And I have had a chance to pull a card from the deck, and it is so special. The energy that's infused inside, and I just look forward to flipping through every single card when I get to buy my own once it actually gets kickstarted. I'm excited to support you in that. It's really, really cool.
Thank you so much. It was really fun to pull a card with
Yeah, thank you.
you too. I was very excited when you pulled it.
Oh, so sweet. I would love to take 3 breaths together before grounding us into the space. And for all of those listening, I'd love for you to breathe with us. If you're driving a car, don't close your eyes, but the invitation is to close your eyes with us. Okay, let's breathe. I call upon our divine spirit team and guides, invisible forces, and any beings that vibrate at divine love or higher that wish to enter into this space with us today as we share energy and story and unique gifts and perspectives that get to come through to create curiosity, love, and light through the stories that are shared. Let anybody who is meant to find this at the right moment in time and find a little spark to take with them from Alicia's story today. And so it is.
So it is. I hope.
I love to start this space with the same question. And I would love to hear, have there been any key turning points or breakthroughs for you on your journey to get you to where you are now?
I would say there are three significant um, turning points in my life. I'm not sure if I'll share all three. I mean, I guess I could a little bit touch a little bit on each of them, but the third being the biggest. The first one I would say was when I was dating my husband, or my now husband. It was a really big turning point for me. I mean, I was like 28 years old and I was wanting to settle down, and I found him online and I saw his picture and I knew just by seeing the picture that he was the one for me. And it was really hard for me to be patient because, he had to come around. Like I knew, but he didn't know. And he had just gotten out of a long relationship. He wasn't ready to settle down or anything like that. So I think when I was like, okay, I either need to let him go, or I got to the point where I either need to let him go or, you know, stick this out and see where it goes. And I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna let him go. So I took a rock, I threw it against another rock, watched it explode, and I was like, I'm just releasing it. I'm releasing my attachment to him, to the idea that I need to be with someone, in a commitment. And the next thing I knew, he came around, and then we were getting married. So um, that was a big turning point for me, as far as relationships go, because I was in and out of relationships my whole life and struggled to really find the one. But clearly I was just waiting for him to be ready. Because as soon as I found him, I knew he was the one.
Hmm. What a powerful image to get to release it and let it go. And it's like, if it's going to come to me, it's going to, but I'm not going to hold on to it so tightly. And just the power that you have your intuition come through of like, yep, this is my person. And if he comes around, wonderful. If not, I'm okay still because I'm going to release it and let it go and trust in the process of what's meant to be.
And I really do think that's the catalyst for all things in life is releasing our attachments
Mm.
to our expectations or our what we think are our needs. And so I really do think that was what the catalyst was, whether I knew it or not. It was the release itself. It was pretty magical how it happened. But
Have you always had the skills and knowledge of knowing how to release things out of your life, or is that something you learned along the way?
I don't think I would say it was a skill. I think it was just something that came out of me innately. Maybe it is something that's always been there. But I never like learned that as a technique from anybody or anything. Yeah, it was just sort of like an instinctual feeling that I had. And I guess a lot of me, I've always been really connected with nature. And then um, sometimes I get these messages or communications when I'm in nature that to do something impulsive, like picking up that rock. I was like, oh, this rock really, it just wants me to throw it and release all of my frustration and need to like be clingy to my relationship with him and know what, to release everything that was bothering me. And it was felt really good. And I really think it takes an action or like physical, doing something physical to help release that, release that, I guess. I don't know. Just came to me.
I love that the rock told you what to do with it, and that rock was prepared to be shattered.
It was like the perfect rock too. It wasn't granite. It was one that was like ready to like, yeah, exactly. It was like a really soft one. And yeah, it was very cool.
As thinking about relationships, in what ways have your relationships been impacted as you've been on your healing journey?
So I think I think my healing journey itself, well, let me step back. Let me step back to why I've needed some healing since being married and then having kids and somewhere along the way when you're busy with, you know, professional life, kids, marriage, just trying to make it financially, all of those things. I lost my sense of self. I lost, you lose yourself a lot of times in, just trying to survive. And, constantly having other people need you. And so I got to that point and I was, I was like, well, I need to do something for me. And so I did. And I went on this solo in nature where it was a 7 day trip or 10 day trip. And it was 3 days alone in the wilderness, 3 days, 3 nights alone in the wilderness. But you go with a group. So you're like around each other and know that there's others that you can get to if you need to. But it was a sacred space that they held for us to do this. And when I returned, it was like a returning home to myself. It was really, really amazing. It was awakening. And something that came out of it was my art. And so I started doing some ink art and it just came right out of me. It was just like, like all of a sudden I was like making art after art. And what I loved about it is I approached it when I started doing it, I approached is like I'm just doing this for me. I'm not doing for anyone else. And it ended up being the art that I love the most. Like whenever I do work, like artistic work for other people, it's never I'm never quite satisfied with it for some reason. When I did it for myself, I guess I released any expectations of it being, you know, good enough, I guess, and ended up being some of my best work. But then fast forward to 2021, and that was back 10 years ago, I'd say 10, 11 years ago. And then fast forward to 2021, um, we experienced a house fire and I lost everything. I had an Etsy business. I had my other business, my video production and graphic design business, all of my original ink art. Um, Thankfully, me and my family all escaped that night. But and then soon after the fire, the stress of rebuilding my life with my family, I was out doing my flowers. My flowers, I will get to in a minute, but the flower farm was basically my modality, was my medicine through all of this. And I was out working in the flowers and my legs went numb. And then it moved up to my pelvis and then through my to my torso. And a few weeks later, after a lot of testing and all of that, I was diagnosed with MS. So after all of that, I decided, oh, I want to see, a life coach or something to help me through this, to help me cope with everything that I'm dealing with. And a lot of it too was um, the heaviness of feeling responsible for the fire. Because at the time I had done a little ritual saying, I need money. We really need money to survive here. And I wasn't specific enough, I guess. I don't know. But the fire had happened. And because of the fire, we were actually able to survive financially because the insurance paid for us to rebuild and paid for us to live somewhere for a year. So um, it's amazing how the universe works with looking back. But at the time, it was very stressful. Growing flowers just ended up being the best thing I could do for myself um, and for other people. Because a lot of times when we do something, not just for ourselves, but other people, it just goes in cycles where it's like giving to someone else is actually giving to yourself. And
Mhm.
giving to yourself is also giving to someone else. So it's like this, I don't know, regenerative, give and um,
Mm.
anyway, I'm getting lost, so maybe you can help me.
Oh, your story was beautiful. And what I really have taken away from all of it is how many seeds you've planted along the way that bloomed in such different ways to service yourself and the collective whole. When we haven't talked about the solo before, but I just went on an experience like that through my grad school program in June. Was it through the School of Lost Borders
You
that you did
did.
yours?
No, no, but the gals that ran it were from that.
Wow.
No, not just the gals. We'll talk more, I think, offline about that, but I would love to share who led the
Yeah,
group.
I would love to talk more about that with you and just another thing that the universe can and all the synchronicities of just us being pushed together. That was another one that I was like, oh wow, there's another sign. And to get to come out of that experience and have your art come from there, and now to get to see your art come to being something that you are offering to the world through your deck and the blooms that really get to that have been planted so long ago through you saying, I'm going to turn inward and I'm going to find myself a sense of self again. And everything that got to come through that golden thread from that point, and just the power that you carry to ignite all of these different threads in your life. It's really stunning. And I just really see this work that you've done in your relationship with self and how much that has gotten to bring you to today and the beauty that you have surrounded yourself with. And even through the challenges and the hardship that came with it. Yeah, because the universe has a sick sense of humor sometimes, but
Oh yeah.
knowing that it has landed you exactly where you're meant to be, even through. all of it. And just what a beautiful reminder to me and to everybody that's listening to get to hear that even through the ups and downs and the turmoil, it's all trying to arrange us to something so much greater than we even know.
Absolutely. You hit it right on the nose. And I really do think that self discovery and self care and doing self reflection is so important and such a vital part to um, being in sync with life and then everything else around you.
Mhm.
Because I think it all starts there. And, and then nature for me is also um, our biggest healer and teacher. And um, I feel like without that, I wouldn't, I mean, we are nature, right? So we ourselves are nature. And so it's easy to look out at nature and find yourself looking back at yourself,
Mhm.
you know, in that way. It's a reflection of you. So that's sort of what I built my card deck around. Is all these little aha moments I would have when I was with nature and its way of like poking me and being like, see, I told you this is what this is what this means. And now reflect on that, and so yeah, so I collected all of those reflections, those writings, and did some art around it. And yeah, and put it together. 78 different cards.
Oh, what a beautiful creation that wanted to come through you. And nature is such a teacher when we allow ourselves to soak in the wisdom that it's bringing to us. And
Yes.
you're such a beautiful example of that. Also, with the manifestation of the flowers, to get to see the beauty of that too, and sharing that beauty with other people, and the whole well rounded cycle that it just I being an eco-psychologist, like we are nature and nature is us, and the way that we treat ourselves is also how we treat nature. And being able to treat ourselves with kindness and also the world with kindness through both lenses really makes a well-rounded whole. And I really see that in your story. And I'm curious, along the way, how has the definition of strength changed for you through everything that you have embarked through?
Well, I think everybody has a different definition of strength, but I used to think it was a physical thing, like am I strong enough to handle this, or physical, emotionally, mentally, or whatever. But now I think of it more as yeah, um, I guess I it's the opposite of. So I guess if I were to think about um fear. I don't know. I guess I was thinking about fear. But fear to me is um so freedom, right? Freedom is what pulls me out of fear. And so I look at strength as part of overcoming that and of overcoming fears. And it's changed just from, knowing what I can face and get through because I have, and knowing that it always works out, and knowing that, you know, what will happen in the end is completely unknown. And be able to feel safe in the unknown is really hard for a lot of people. But once you've gotten through that, I think it gets easier to understand that you don't have to know everything and that you're being held all the time.
Mhm. Yeah, the safety and the unknown, not knowing of what is going to come and how it's going to work out, and the releasing of that. And I, the evidence that you've had in your life of the power of letting go and what comes when you do that, and the power of, I don't know how this is going to end, but I'm going to keep going through it. And despite the fear, despite the hardship, because I know that I can and I have the tools and the strength to help guide me through it, and the protection from the universe and from the unknown. And now look how much evidence you have of all the things that you've survived. It's it's really stunning as an example, and I'm just really grateful to get to share your story in this space.
I'm grateful for you letting me share it.
I would love to hear about some of your victories and small or large and what these moments have meant for you.
Yeah, so I just like to say what I'd like to say about victories is I don't think people take the time enough to celebrate. Um, it's so easy to be like, okay, I have this goal and hustle, 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 and you get to this goal and you finally get to this goal and you're like, okay, next thing, right? I feel like we're so trained to always be working on the next thing or looking to the next goal or whatever, but it's so important to take the moment to celebrate those victories because that is what I think um, sinks into our body and our body memory about what it feels like when you finally make it, right? And that gives us the drive and the courage and the motivation to take on that next goal. But if you don't take that time to celebrate and find joy in what you have overcome, then it's it's a constant hustle and you're never happy. I mean, you gotta be happy. Joy is happiness, right? I mean, you gotta take those moments
Mhm.
to celebrate yourself and what you've accomplished.
What an important reminder that I feel like I needed today. So thank you for that. And we live in a culture that has created this lens of you have to hustle to the next thing. Like, don't stop because if you stop, then you're going to miss out. And it's like, no, stopping and celebrating what is and being in the present moment of look at how much I've accomplished to even get me here is how you're right, how we stay motivated to move forward. And it's just, it can be so easy to miss that when we are in that grind of the hustle. And that's something that I would love to see shift in our norms and the worldview of living because we're not designed to be in that fast paced, constant hustle and bustle moving forward. And I just love the invitation to pause and to celebrate the moment and what you've accomplished because that pause makes a world of a difference.
It does. And I see it a lot of my kids too. Like when we celebrate even birthdays or, whatever it is that we're celebrating, it's important because that's where memories are made of and they feel validated, or, it's just any kind of excuse to celebrate, I think is a good one.
Yeah. Ah, I love it. I'm gonna go celebrate tonight just for the hell of it. So
I
all
know,
that
why
I've been doing.
not?
I
I
can roll space for that.
I mean, that really is what life is. Life is, I mean, okay, this is something that I would like to share and that I've learned is life. I mean, we are these beings that have these senses, right? We have sensory, and it is unique to us. And we should be experiencing life uh, um, with every single sense all the time. We should be tasting really good food. We should be listening to beautiful music, inspiring music, or music that just, helps us get our anger out, even, or whatever. We should be looking at beauty all the time. We should be feeling each other, hugging, kissing, we dancing. We need to be fully experiencing life because that is our gift. And that's what's been given to us as a gift. And I think so many people have gotten numb.
Mhm.
They're numb because their minds are telling them to do other things or focus on other things when, everything you need you have in this moment in your body. And I think we need to do more of that to understand that more.
Mm. We've forgotten how to be human and to experience the presence of the moment through all of our senses. And like, I was doing a practice this week of really tuning in to what would to the presence. And I was amazed at the sound of the wind and the feeling on my skin and standing on the earth and all of these like where I'm a person that I feel pretty present most of the time, but I was like, whoa, this is a different level of presence that I didn't know that I could tap into. And feeling with every part of my being, we've forgotten how to be human in that. And it's such a gift to get to be in these bodysuits and be experiencing life. And so many things around us inhibit at the way that life has been set up, especially in the Western world, of us actually experiencing life. And it is, I think it's a form of activism and a form of joy to get to show up and live and truly get to experience what life is wanting us to hold.
Exactly. Well said.
Thank you. I am curious to hear about, you said nature has kind of always been a teacher for you and part of your life. And I would love to know how nature has helped you shift your worldview and if that has been part of your worldview shifting, or if it hasn't, in what ways has helped you shift?
Well, I mean, just recently when I went to Sedona with my husband, I mean, we would go on these hikes and we put our hands on these rocks and just can't you just can't fathom how long they have been here, right?
Mm,
So in the scheme of things, our lifespan is so short compared to that of this earth. And
mm,
all the things this earth has seen, right? It's just mind boggling. So what puts it into perspective for me is I look back into history and think back into history, and I think our ancestors had it much. They went through so much to get us where we are today. And I truly do believe that we're in a better place now than we ever have been, while not disregarding the many major problems that the world faces today and how many problems and things that we're seeing in the world right now. But I think it helps to have that perspective that we are evolving, right? We are overcoming so many challenges. It's just when problems arise and when it happens, we always respond with resilience. And I do think, and I have hope for the future. That, and so my worldview is that we are better than it ever has been, despite the problems that we're in. But I think that the internet and the how we're all connecting across the globe now because we can, how it's just basically shifted time for us where we can reach somebody from across the planet and all come together and heal the problems that we have
mm,
as a collective. And I do feel like consciousness is evolving as well, where we're all starting to realize that we're the same and we're all one.
mhm,
And if we want to make it on this planet, we have to come together in any form, any way that you're comfortable with. Whoever it is you pray to, whatever it is that you do to manifest or to, you know, just even live out your life and leave it better for those beyond you. I do have lots of hope.
I feel your hope coming through. And I have so much hope to share too. And I just really appreciate you bringing that perspective because there is, we are the most connected we've ever been. And being able to even have this conversation with you now through a digital platform where 50 years ago this would not have been an option, and to get to share these perspectives to an audience that we will never see or know the touch and ripples that get to come. It is how it's so powerful to get to tap into that. And I really think the shift of consciousness, there are so many more people who are waking up on our planet that are wanting to see shift and change. And I can feel it in all around, like these beacons of light that are coming up and just coming online, and to get to use the tools that we have to help tap into that. It's a really powerful knowing, and it gives me hope too, because I really think that there are so many more people on this planet who care and want to survive than just like let it burn to the ground. And so thank you for that perspective.
Absolutely. And I think that the troubles that we're seeing right now too, is going to be a catalyst for good change. There's, it's always been, the order comes from chaos. There's dualities in life that are inevitable, and I think that, you know, I just have hope that it'll come around, and maybe technology will completely go away. I wouldn't completely mind, because I do value, humans being human to human, right? But I think having the worldview perspective is really important, as well.
Mm. Yeah, right. A woman said to me recently, that in which is revealed must be healed. And I feel like we're in the great revealing right now, where everything that is being shown is an invitation for healing in the future. And it's showing us where the gaps are so that we can show up to that. And we are one collective whole, like you said. And I just really believe in the eco-mindedness and over egoic. And the earth is our teacher and our friend and our mother, and she's going to survive. And we have a choice whether or not we are going to make shifts to survive with her. And I really appreciate being able to look at it from we are one whole and we get to support each other because we're hardwired for that. We as human beings are designed to connect and to help each other. And I just really feel that village is such an answer for the future and getting to have that human to human connection and using the internet to help us connect, but then getting to have those face to face interactions and see the gifts and the unique perspectives that people bring. It's all very interwoven to, yeah, to the whole.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally am with you.
Yeah, I feel that. You're so sweet. Like everything you've said, I'm like, yeah, my kind of person.
Oh, it's like looking at myself. I don't know. I
Oh, we
really
get to
do think
mirror each
you're
other.
like a sister.
I feel it. It's so
It's
sweet.
like a long lost sister that I finally found.
I feel it. It's so, so sweet to know you. And just like the moment we met each other, I was like, oh, yes, this human, I need to know more about her.
Exactly. That's totally how I feel.
As we are coming close to the end of our time together, I wanted to ask a couple more questions before closing
Mhm.
out. I would love to hear about the parts of yourself that you've gotten to reclaim along the way as you have been navigating all that life has handed you.
Yeah, so I would say parts that I've reclaimed, I pretty much all of it. My whole self.
Valid.
I mean, I mean, it's always a journey, right? Like there's always, I'm always, and I'm still learning about myself and stuff. But I think it really is just taking the time to listen and to reflect on yourself and why you think this way, why you did this, and challenging yourself even. It's always good to, it's something my dad always taught me too, was, question everything, always be curious. And that always stuck with me, because I do think curiosity is really what keeps me ever evolving into a better person, I hope. Yeah, so um I don't know how else to answer that question really.
That's beautiful. I feel like when we lose our curiosity, we do lose ourselves because then we trap ourselves into a smaller box than necessary. And I feel so many of us are handed a handbook at the beginning of our lives. And if we're never curious enough to look outside of what is given to us, then we're not able to reclaim our parts. And all of us, I feel like as I've been on this eco psychology journey, every single one of my parts has gotten to return. And it's because of curiosity that it's been accessible. With
Absolutely.
With that, I am going to ask one final question, and I love to end the space with the same question of what wisdom or insight do you carry now that you didn't before?
Um, I would say one of the biggest insights that I carry now, um, that maybe is more, maybe I did before, but it's more just prominent to me right now, is that, I feel like we need to always question our beliefs as well. There's a difference between hope and belief, and hope is like not having an attachment to to what it is that you hope for, or hope and dream, or whatever. And beliefs, I think, can be so limiting. So I've learned a lot about myself is that I have had so many thoughts that have been limiting myself, and like, just as an example, around money, right? I used to believe money was evil because those that had all the money were doing evil things, right? And so I had this deep-seated belief, and therefore I ran into money problems all the time. But until I finally realized what money really is, and I have a person, Solita Grant, who I should give credit to for helping me through this, but realizing that money is just energy, and the energy that we give out and receive between people, and the energy you put into something to create something to then give to someone else, and someone else. I mean, it could be done in trade, but money is only carrying energy. And that to me changed my entire perspective. And so limiting beliefs will hold you back in your life. So if you're running into problems that are like a broken record and they keep coming back and keep showing up over and over and over again, it's because you have limited beliefs around something that is holding you back.
Mhm.
That's it.
Hmm. I love that because the thing that helped me when I learned that I am not my thoughts and that I can be aware of my thoughts and shift my thoughts so they don't make me feel like shit all the time was such a crazy shift in my life. And then I was able to start looking at these limiting beliefs that were holding me back. And it, we have so much power to create our own reality, and the things that we are believing around ourselves help create that reality. And so looking at the way that those are being limited is such an important modality in order to move forward and to really expand what is able to come to you. And money's such a great example of that too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
There's so many. I mean, I could go on and on with, limiting beliefs, but our mind is a trickster and our mind is powerful. And I think that we've gotten to a point where we're just in our minds too often and too much. Like we need to balance,
Mhm.
um, what we feel in our gut, our intuition, even our feelings, other senses to help decipher what our mind is thinking. So,
Mm. Beautiful. Yay. Uh,
yay.
Before we close out, I would love to give you an opportunity to share how people can find you if you want people to find you after this.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, I have my own website, and I pretty much put everything I do on there. um, this just makes it easy. And I've had this website for a very, very long time. So it's exceeddesign.com, and it's spelled with X as in X-ray, S as in Sam, EED design.com. So yeah, xseeddesign.com.
Amazing. And I'll make sure to put that in the show notes too for people to click on that and find you. And before
Perfect.
we close out, is there anything else that you would like to share in this space before we end?
No, I feel really good. And I feel so grateful to you for opening this up to me and being able to share this. Um, awesome podcast with me, and I can't wait to listen to more of your podcast and follow you and even take your courses because I think you're such an inspiration. I love the work you're doing, and I'm full of gratitude for you. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna mirror that back to you, my friend, too, and just one say thank you for the kind words. And it's just been such a privilege and an honor to get to have you in this space and to hear your story and your wisdom and
Thank you.
unique light that you bring. And for people who are listening, you can't see this like cute rainbow that's been across Alicia's face the whole time, but it's just been so sweet. And I'm really grateful that we met and got to connect. And I look forward to seeing the ways that we continue to build together. And
Yes,
so
let's
everyone
collaborate.
listening, yes, be on the lookout for that. And I really am excited to buy your deck too. And for all of those listening, get excited for Alicia's deck also because it's the energy that's infused is you. And I feel that in the conversation that we've just had and in every moment that we've gotten to spend in person. And I look forward to connecting with you further too. I'm an I love you person. Does it feel okay
Sweet.
for me to say I love you?
Yes, I love you too. And I'm a hugger, so
Yeah,
I'll hug you in the
angel hug.
ear.
So sweet. And with that, Alicia, I love you. To all
Love
of
you.
those listening, I love you too. And go out, love loudly, be your most vibrant and authentic self. The world needs you, as your unique thumbprint that you have to offer. And it's just beautiful to get to hear all of the gifts that were shared in this space. And until next time, bye.